Hello, you're welcome to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, you're highly welcome. If this is the first time you join us, you're welcome. Today we'll be learning how I made this. Make sure to like, comment, share and turn on your notification bell so you get notified each time we upload new video. There are two measurements that are very important for this project that we're doing, and that's your upper chest line and your upper chest to your under bust and your center front bust to your side bust line, as seen in the previous bra picture. Just look at it very well, you understand. So now I've gone ahead to divide my center front into two. Whatever I have, I'm dividing into two. So I'm going to place it like so. So for my upper chest line, upper chest to my under bust, what I have, I'm going to indicate it as well. I had 9.5, so I'm indicating it there. You have to use yours. So this is me putting in the one for the center front to the side, to connect it. So I sort of have a straight line. So now I'm connecting it to the base line, the center front line. You can see that I have a center front line ruled out. I left like 2 inch from where I started from. So please do so. If you're working directly on your fabric, you also need to do so that you have a space to put in your seam allowance and the little alteration you're going to do. So now I'm going to divide from the tip of my upper chest to the side of my side bust. I'm going to divide it by two, as you see me do, like so. And I'm going to indicate the point there. For the center front, I'm repeating same process, dividing by two, and indicating it there. So I'm going to, from the side, I'm going to go out by one on the point of the center. That's the divided mark that I had there. Go out by one, and I'm imputing it there. As you see me do, like so. Then I'm going to connect with a curve. If you have a curve ruler, use your curve ruler. And the down part has to be, you have to make sure it's curvy, like it goes in. It's very important. So I'll connect from the upper part as well, like a curve stroke, also a curve stroke, not like to the point there. If you don't have a curve ruler, just trace out like you see me do. Then on the center front, I'm going to go out by 0.5. Then you connect again, same process with a curve, the upper part to the down part. Just take your time to do it. If you're not using a curve ruler, there's no rush. So that's it for the front part. I'm just going to add my seam allowance. And I would love to point out, if you're using a stretchy fabric, be careful. Check how stretchy it is. so that it can sit well, because if you're using a stretchy fabric, imagine you take out a measurement of 5. If the fabric is extremely stretchy, it's going to give you like another extra 5, if that makes sense. So I had that issue because I worked with a stretchy fabric, so I'm pointing it out. But if you're using a normal fabric, just add a normal seam allowance. So if you're using a stretchy fabric, there's no point adding allowance. In fact, you might even have to like trim it out after sewing. You just have to cross check. So this is me adding allowance, which I wasn't supposed to add because my fabric was stretchy. But I'm correcting it, I'm pointing it out so you know, in case you're working with a stretchy fabric like mine. So add your allowance. If you are not working with stretchy fabric, then connect. Then cut. You're going to cut 4 pieces. Unfold 4 pieces. Then we'll have total. When you open it, you are going to have total. We're going to have total of 8 pieces. Add your, indicate where your allowance is and notch. Then cut out. Now we'll head to do the upper part, the lower part. Sorry, the lower part. I'm marking my baseline. So my shoulder to my underbust measurement, what I used for it was I measured where I want mine to sit. I want it to sit on my lower waist. So my shoulder to my underbust is 14. If I minus my half length from it, what I'll have is 7. Then I just added extra 4 inch, because the total way I wanted to say 21. 21 minus 14, you're going to have 7. So you do the math. You might not necessarily do this pattern that I'm doing. You might decide a stripe, just like a 2-inch strap from your underbust, where you just sew whatever you want. But if you want it the way I did mine, this is the method I used, the way I calculated mine. Make sure to use, like I always stress in all my videos, make sure to use your measurement. So now I've marked out my 7-inch line. I'm going to impute my waistline, my waist measurement, my upper waist measurement, and my lower waist measurement. The lower waist measurement is not same as your hip measurement. So you have to make sure you take the measurement. Then I'm connecting, and I added 1-inch allowance for that. You can skip this part, it's totally optional. Added 1-inch allowance for the dart, and here I'm connecting it. So I'm taking out my dart measurement. Then connect. I've said if you don't want to put that, you can skip it, because I closed the dart again. So it's not a must to put that on it. So here I'm going to create a strap loop. So I'm going to divide the side by 2. Whatever I get there, I will indicate it. Then I will, from the upper part, I will go down by 1.5. From the lower part of the waist, I will go up by 1.5. So I'm going to tint my tape rule out to measure 1.5 outward on both sides that I went down by 1.5, 1.5. Keep in mind I've not added my seam allowance to this. So now I've done that. Now I'm going to add 0.7 seam allowance from the upper part and the lower part, and I'm going to connect like a curve to meet the 1.5. So this will give me a channel where I can put my strap for the back because there's no cloth at the back. I'm going to cut on 2. You're going to cut out on 2, add your necessary seam allowance that you need. You're going to fold, you're putting your fabric, folding on 2 to cut out. So you fold it, you cut the first one, you fold it again, you cut the second one because you're going to use it as a lining to turn the dress. So I've cut it out. Now let's assemble the upper part. You're you're going to sew, notch your middle point, that's the center front. You notch so that you know that that's where you want that's your center front. When you're sewing it, it will be easy for you. So I will sew on 0.5 inch allowance that I added, and the stripe I used for it. This I've actually sewn it now. You can see I'm adjusting the measurement because I found out that it was stretch, it was excess. The more I sewed, the bigger it looks. So I had to trim off. But I've made the correction before, saying that if you're working with a stretchy fabric, you just have to be careful, and also you use your body to check if it's sitting well before you move to the next phase of your sewing. So this is the stripe I cut out. You can do from 18 to, I did 20. You can do from 18 to 20 or more. It's better you have excess than having not enough to tie over when you want to knot it at the back. So I've placed it at the middle point there, and I'm going to use the other one to sew it as you see me do, like so. That's the turning, the one I'm going to use as a lining to turn it out. So I've done that. This is what I have now. So I also want to point out something. If you look this video very well, you saw that I went out by 1 inch on this down part, the upper parts, that's the on the bust upper parts of it that was connected to the bra cup. I went out by 1 inch. But if you're busty, you don't need to do it, because if you go out by 1 inch, your breast is going to be showing a lot, depend on how comfortable. So I actually adjusted this pattern again. I had to lose and take it back. So if you're bossy, what you do is you sew directly from the center front. You just indicate the center front. You just notch it when you fold onto the middle point. You notch it. Then you can lap your upper, that's the cup that you're going to add to it. That's this cup part that will cut it out. You can lap it on 0.2, 0.2, then you sew. So when you're wearing it, your bra is your breasts will be sitting properly. If you want it to be just like the way mine is, but if you want it revealing, because if it's 1 inch apart, it's going to be too for a busty person. But if you're not busty, it's okay, very okay. So now this is me placing all my fabrics where it's ought to be. Then I'll fix the strap at the side of it, and I'm going to use the turning, the one I'm going to use to turn it. I'll put it round it and I'll pin round. And all this stripe, I'm going to make sure they are in the middle so it doesn't obstruct my sewing. I will sew round and I will leave I left 0.4, I'm sorry, 4 inch allowance. So now take to the machine and sew. Here is my strap measurement. This is how I got it. I divided my waist into two, the rest part of into two, then I added extra like times two of my half waist measurement. So I had like 34, so on one side, 34 on one side. So I'm going to connect it towards the sew it, then bring it out, then connect to the strap hole that's the strap hole that I put there and sew around. Take it to your machine. So this is what we'll have when I'm done sewing. I've turned it out from this thing. Then I'm going to use a hand stitch to finish it up. And if you watched to this point, you've not subscribed to our channel, please kindly do so. Subscribe, like, share, and thank you for watching. See you.